As a cross-border financial planner, we see people make mistakes every single day. And one of the biggest mistakes that we see people make is not collecting all of the benefits that they're eligible for from the US and Canada. And one of the biggest issues there is your old age security or OAS payments. If you've worked and lived in Canada and the US, you don't want to miss this video. Hello, my name is Bryan Haggard. I'm a certified financial planner and chartered financial analyst, and I'm the founder of Retirement Financial. We help simplify your cross-border retirement plan. If you've lived and worked in both the US and Canada, and now you're residing in the US, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to qualify for two benefits from Canada. One is your Canada Pension Plan, or CPP, which we've discussed in a previous segment of this. And the other benefit is your Old Age Security or OAS benefit. Today, we're going to focus on the OAS benefit. We're going to talk about what is the OAS benefit, who qualifies for the OAS benefit, what are the two big misconceptions that people have regarding your OAS payments, and last but not least, if you're eligible, how to get your OAS payments started. Okay, first, what is OAS? OAS is a little bit different than your Canada Pension Plan or even the US Social Security system. Your OAS is a government pension that you receive simply by living in Canada, by being a resident of Canada. Unlike CPP and Social Security, you don't pay into the OAS system. As long as you've been a resident of Canada after the age of 18, there's a decent chance that you will qualify for OAS, which we're going to talk about here in just a minute. OAS, as far as how much you would get and when that comes, in OAS, the benefit you can turn on as early as age 65, but you can delay and grow your OAS benefit all the way up to age 70. At 65, the maximum OAS benefit that you would be qualified for is about $708 Canadian here in the latter part of 2023. However, most of the clients I work with don't qualify for that full $708 per month benefit. And that's because in order to qualify for that benefit, you would have had to have been a Canadian resident after the age of 18 for 40 years. And a lot of the clients that we work with here might have lived in Canada until they were 30, 40 years old, and then moved down to the US. And so they didn't get that full 40 years of Canadian residency. And if that's the case, they're going to get a percentage of that $708, that full benefit that they would qualify for, based on how many years they were residents here. For example, if you were a resident of Canada for 20 years after the age of 18, you may get 50% of that benefit. Again, you can delay and grow your OAS benefit all the way up to age 70. It does grow by about 7% per year, so it will tick up for you every single year. Now, there's two big misconceptions that we see that people make with OAS. The first big misconception that people have is who qualifies for OAS. I hear all of the time people will tell me, Bryan, I don't qualify for an OAS benefit because I didn't live in Canada for long enough. So here is typically the rule. In order to qualify for an OAS benefit, you typically have to have been a Canadian resident after the age of 18 for 20 years. However, because of this US and Canada totalization agreement, you can actually combine your Canadian residency years plus the amount of years that you've paid into Social Security to reach that 20-year limit. So let's say, for example, you lived in Canada until you were 33 years old, right? After age of 18, you were in Canada for 15 years. You came to the States and you worked for 10, 20 years after that. You would still qualify for an OAS benefit because your Canadian years of residency plus your years paid into Social Security exceed that 20-year limit. So you would qualify for an OAS benefit. I see so many people who just completely miss OAS because of that. Now, again, if you moved down to the States after 15 years and you never worked here in the States, you never paid into Social Security, in that instance, you wouldn't qualify for an OAS benefit. And unlike U.S. Social Security, there's not a spousal benefit that you can get from OAS. So the first misconception that I want to make sure that you're aware of is you may qualify for an OAS benefit even without 20 years of Canadian residency, and that's why I see so many people miss this benefit. The second biggest misconception that people have is that, well, even if I qualify for an OAS benefit, I'm not going to get any of it anyway because I earn too much money. And this is a valid concern that people have, right? If you retire in Canada and you earn over about 90,000 Canadian per year, your OAS benefit starts to get reduced. And if you earn over about 130,000 Canadian per year, your OAS benefit gets completely eliminated. However, here in the US, that is not the case. You can earn as much as possible here in the US, and you can still collect your OAS benefit because of this US and Canada totalization agreement. So again, I see people miss the OAS or just don't turn it on because A, they don't think they qualify for it, even when they do, and B, they think it's going to be reduced anyway because they earn too much money. Here in the US, there's a good chance that if you were a Canadian resident and then came here in the US and worked, that A, you will qualify for that OAS benefit, and it won't be clawed back because of what that rule is for Canadian residents. Okay, let's talk about getting OAS started. So I'm gonna warn you a little bit. If you don't have 20 years of Canadian residency and therefore need the Social Security to get involved to also confirm how many years you've worked down here in the States, collecting OAS is going to take a very long time. First of all, as a US resident, none of this can be done online. You can call Service Canada to get an application for OAS, but it is a paper application that you have to fill out and send back to Canada. And so once you fill out and send back that application to Canada, if you have 20 years of Canadian residency, the process can be relatively smooth and you may see your first OAS payment directly deposited into a US bank account within 6 months, and it's a relatively easy process. If you don't have 20 years of Canadian residency, you will send your paper application to Canada. They will send it to Baltimore in the US to confirm your Social Security credits. They then have to send it back to Canada, and then eventually you will get your money. I just had a client who this took 2 years to get their first payment. Now, the good news about that is they got 2 years of back pay. So he actually just received an $8,000 check for the years that it took to get his first OAS payment. So a little bit of warning with your OAS is it may take a little bit of time. It makes sense to start your application a little bit earlier, especially if you want it to get started on time. I'd also try to, the tip that we have seen is the people that are a little bit more proactive, calling Service Canada a little bit more often after sending in their application, tend to have a little bit more success and a little bit more luck about getting their OAS payments started a little bit faster. But it is a waiting game, and don't be too much in a rush to get your first OAS check. As I mentioned before, my name is Bryan Haggard. I'm the founder of Retirement and Financial, and we help simplify your cross-border retirement plan. What we do is help our clients put together a strategy for turning on their Canada pension plan, their old age security, and their US Social Security, as well as help them figure out a tax strategy for taking withdrawals out of their US retirement accounts and their Canadian retirement accounts. And most importantly, what we help our clients do is just have a comfortable retirement plan in place that puts all of these moving parts together in one easy to understand place. If you're interested, you can go to our website, retiremitten.com, and schedule a complimentary consultation. Thanks for listening today. Bye now.